What level char do you guys use?
3.
3?
Last one?
Yep.
I think it was the music he had on that was all the songs.
He had the craziest mixture. He had like slow jams and hardcore rap, like every other track.
On a Mexican station, by the way.
Yeah.
He's like, I need to give these guys some jams.
The first song, that shit was...
He went to his Sex 'em Up playlist.
exactly how they do it.
Oh, that Mariah got me gagging. Yeah. Interesting. Little snow.
Yeah, like
little snow.
Right now? It's different. We actually empty. We actually started emptying, so it's a different amount.
Because you guys don't rotate, you guys have different things on different sides.
No, we'll do that.
Okay. Check it.
So a little different than some other brick houses, just a little. Now the cool part is the stuff that we actually have aged here ourselves has aged out. That's why we have some empty space. This actually was completely empty in the front about a week ago, and we just filled it back up last Saturday. So cool stuff. Normally we would have like 352 barrels right here aging. Now the reason what makes this so different from other ones is the view. I love brick houses. They're always my favorite part of any tour. They smell good, they feel good, but it can get a little claustrophobic sometimes. So what we actually opted for this guy when we built it, this is our show brick house. No other brick houses are like this that we have. We actually just didn't put the 800 barrels above us that we go. So all the other guys can hold 20,000 barrels. This guy can only hold 19,200. So over the life of this, that's a lot of barrels we sacrificed, but it's a really cool view.
Yeah.
I think it's worth it. It's my favorite. I love it.
So what's the name?
Those are special people.
Yeah.
Those are actually our major distributors. So this was a present for them. They actually got to just come up here and be like, I want this barrel, and put their name on it, and they get that barrel.
Yeah, I see what they said. Okay, cool.
They did not have to pay for it. They will not have to pay for it. They actually get aged as long as they'd like as well. So I do not have friends that nice. I decided I needed higher caliber, right?
Yeah,
Because
we
mine
were
won't
born
even
into
buy me-
wrong families.
Mine won't even buy me bourbon. They're like, you like expensive stuff. I'm like, it's not that bad. Like, actually, let's see. Like, I don't like it. Now, something else you might notice is this real pretty stamp on the front. Ignore these older barrels. Pretty sure the guys are just little passing grants and putting them back in. Because when they emptied these, they had to leave these special barrels, and there were barrels in between, so they had to pull them off all one at a time and get the ones in between out. But all the other ones, the new ones you're going to notice, all of the Lux Row is very nice and legible, and it's all the same way. That's actually more practical than for printing, and that's because of the location of the bunk. You want that between like the 10 and 2, kind of like you're driving, because if it gets too far either way, the pressure's going to pop it out, it's going to leak. There's no way around that, by the way. It's going to leak. But we don't want that, so we do try to put those in appropriately.
So you can read Lux Row.
Yes. The fun part is that when the guys are putting it in, they don't even look at that. What they're actually looking at, if you look right here, you see these rivets that are right at the top? Whenever they make the barrels, they actually put the rivets right there where they drill the hook. So it's going to line up, so when the guys are actually rolling them in, they see the rivets and they position the rivets how they need. And they're fast with it, and they do it one at a time. So what's going to happen to actually get these in place, they're going to bring that truck up, they're going to put the 40 or 60 at a time they're moving, and they back it up right here. It's facing the big garage door. They open that up, they're going to hand roll them off. Usually there'll be a couple guys working kind of together, and they're very quick about it. They're going to hand roll them down one at a time, almost like a little game of Frogger, it kind of looks like, and then they're going to get it to where it goes in. We have a little hydraulic lift that will lift to the first, second, or third on each of the floors. Now, if it goes on a different floor, we do have an elevator. That is a very loose term for the wooden platform we have where a dude holds a button and another dude says stop. So, an elevator. It is just for bourbon. People use stairs. Bourbon is special. Now, once it gets into place, that's where it's going to be. We don't rotate at all. They're just going to stay there until they're ready. Now, how that gets into 6 brands. We have 6 brands at Lux Row. They all taste very, very different, and they're all from 2 mash bills. That's it. We have 2 mash bills. Does everything we got except for Blood Oak, because Blood Oak is special. But that's a different story for another day.
Ooh.
But for all the stuff we do have, it is very important that we do not rotate because it helps us get a variety of flavors. There's a couple ways you can do that. Proofing, batching, and finishes. So starting off with the obvious one up here is batching. So we have a couple of our core brands and whatnot that we do. They're going to be what we call a large batch. Our large batch can be anywhere from 60 to 100 barrels. So that's going to be like your Rebel 100, your Ezra Brooks 99, your David Nicholson Reserve. Those are going to be the big batches that, for one, you want to be consistent every single time. They're going to be the same flavor whether you buy a bottle here or you buy a bottle in Georgia. It's going to taste the same. That's the point. So what we do is we do a cross pull. That just means we're going to pull a couple from here, a couple rows, and other rick houses, and we blend it together. John Rigby is also our master blender. So he's going to make sure those flavors are consistent. But they do that by blending. Now, another way we can do that by getting different brands is going to be the top of the rick house. So that's where we pull our single barrels and our small batches. Now, if you don't know why location matters, I'll tell you just kind of real quick and brief. It's the temperature. So how your bourbon actually gets colored and flavored is by the barrel. 100% of the color comes from that barrel. But about 60% of that overall flavor comes just from the barrel. And that's because of temperature. As your bourbon heats up, it's going to expand, the pressure is going to increase, it's going to force it into that barrel. As it contracts, the opposite's going to happen. It's going to pull back out. So over time, especially in Kentucky, where the weather changes based on the day of the week, it's going to move in and out of that barrel a whole lot. And that's going to give us all that flavor and color. Now, the top of the rick house, where this comes into play, is it's as much as 20 degrees difference from top to bottom. Because I'm sure most of you have houses or you've lived in one. It's very difficult to keep the top floor cool and the bottom floor warm because heat rises. So it's going to move in and out of that barrel a lot more frequently at the top. So you get a lot more cool individual flavors. So that's why if you've ever done with our single barrel program, we pull from the top. Because you're going to be tasting different barrels and they're going to taste completely different even with the same mash bill. So pretty cool stuff. But that's another way that we do all those different brands. And then you get into proofing. If you have 120 cask strength and then you have 100 proof, that is going to taste extremely different because you're going to dilute out some of that individuality. So it's going to be a little more consistent, a little smoother, but it's going to drink very, very different. And then finishes, and we'll get into some of that more when we actually get into the tasting. But that was a lot of random science for you. Do y'all have any questions about any of this or anything else before we head down and actually try some stuff? Which is what you're all here for. Actually, I told him, I said, watch it. I said, wait till we get the tasting room. We're going to have 14 people come in then. That's what's going to happen. I was waiting. All right, well, we're going to head back down. We're going to go back down the way we came, but we're actually just going to go past the door we came out. And I'm going to get the lights in here because we're the last tour.
That was a perfect explanation. Thank you.
I used to be a science teacher in high school. Yeah.
I can tell.
I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. I made poor life decisions at some point in my life. That's what that tells you.
Oh, don't we all? I need my name on that one.
I thought about like marking it out with a permanent marker just to see if they notice. Like, call me for my address.
Right. Steve was here.